Hey guys, welcome to episode 12 of the Three Man Meta podcast. I'm Leighton, and as always, I've got my boys with me. I've got Danny and I've got James with me. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the plethora of announcements that FFG have bestowed upon us. And Danny has got something else that he wants to brag about. So, what should we start with first, boys? Should we let Danny brag first, or should we go into the news?
Might as well, yeah. Try and test it. Let's let Danny have his moment in the sun.
So, Danny, the floor is yours.
Oh my god, the prestige of being ahead of all the recent announcements. So as I gloated around on Facebook late Sunday, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. I went to an event down in Southampton, which was the first charity event for Destiny I think we've had in the UK. Or really, I feel like it's the first, not directly prize supported like Q kit or regionals or nationals, kind of like what should have been quite a big event for the
There
UK.
has been events in Liverpool, because I remember when we were at Liverpool, some chap I spoke to at Nationals told me he'd been doing some charity events. So there has been some other stuff, but because I'm really good, I've remembered what his name was and what his event was.
You're so good. But yeah, the prize support for this charity tournament that we had, it was Gaming versus Cancer, and it was astronomical. I've walked away with so much stuff, and everyone just got so much stuff. So you had your participation prize for every single round. You got 2 promo cards, and then if you won the game, you got additional promo cards. So you not only were you playing to win and get a good score in the Swiss to go into the top cut, but you were constantly winning Dex boxes, Q kit cards, and custom art cards and all sorts of stuff. So I guess I'll start by just kind of running through the games. I was playing Elite Bala, Elite Sienna Ree, Night Sister. The deck just has a lot of removal, a lot of 2-cost redeploy guns, and backup muscle, because it's backup muscle and it's really good. My first game was against Phasma Django, so that's new Phasma, which now takes you to exactly 30 points. And there's obviously the new Django Veers of the set. The game, basically, he had the same opinion that a lot of my opponents had. And when they kind of sat down opposite me and looked at my little cheap low health characters, they were like, what's this jank? And after about 2 rounds, they were like, why are you consistently hitting me for 10 damage a round? And I was like, yeah, the deck's just really, really good. And for the most part, I had a little bit of damage on, I said a little bit, I did about 7 damage to Django round 1, killed Django round 2, stood Bala back up with 3 guns, hit Phasma for 6 on his reactivation, and then killed Phasma at the start of round 3. I remember just sitting there being like, just don't have, what's it called? Tactical Mastery.
That's pretty brutal.
Yeah. I mean, he managed to kill Bala after I had shotgunned and laid all the damage into Phasma. So Bala went down, but then all the guns just go to Sienna. So then you've still got 5 dice when every time you activate Sienna. The deck just performed really, really well. And yeah, won the first game. Next game, I went into the matchup I was most worried about, because as I say, this deck's got a lot of removal, but then I had to play Sabine Ezra. But luckily, Sabine didn't roll any damage the whole game, I'm pretty sure. The game ended and I had 3 damage on Sienna and 1 damage on Night Sister that I had used to ping her. And I'd killed Sabine and Ezra. Which was...
I know those feels.
I was going to say, it's a bit reminiscent to maybe what happened to Leighton a few days ago against Jedi Grey. And we played another game afterwards, and it was a lot closer. He got a second chance on Sabine, and actually managed to kill 2 of my characters. And I still managed to pull it out, just because the deck does consistently put out so much damage. But yeah, kind of got a free win with that game because, as I say, just didn't roll any damage, and when Sabine doesn't show up, the deck can't win. So went 2-0, was feeling pretty good. We were doing 5 rounds of Swiss, so I needed to guarantee a 4-1 to guarantee make the cut, and a 3-2 would have, if I was the top of 3-2s, would have got me in top 4 as well. So next up, I played against Palpatine, which, like, he did so much damage, that Palpatine. He was constantly rolling 2s and 3s, and I managed to deflect some back at him, but he kept, resolving. He didn't, luckily for me, he didn't manage to get any upgrades out. He did manage to do a rise again near the end of round 2, which took him from, I think, about 8 hit points back down to 3. But because he didn't have any equipment, I then started to draw into my removal and was successfully removing it, like, he doesn't like use and the like. And then just managed to just play a plethora of guns while spreading out the damage as evenly as I could to everyone. And I think I only lost Sienna in that game, because obviously you're not going to go for Balor off the get-go because he's not going to get his reactivation. But it felt really close because obviously Palpatine just outputs so much damage, and that if you're not quick in defeating him, he will just overwhelm you with like the persistent kind of additional damage that he puts out. But managed to, after he rised again, I think I did about 11 damage to him. So just managed to clear him up at the kind of start of round 4, end of round 3-ish time. So that went pretty well. So 3-0 was a big tick. So but by this point I had picked up, so it'd been 6 promos plus that. So yeah, I got 12 promo cards by this point, which, when you look at a Q kit and you get your 1 participation and then your ultimate prize for coming top cut, the prize pool for this tournament was just so insanely generous, and they had a lot of donations from all sorts of people all over the places. We had store championship kits and everything.
How much of that swag are we getting to take home? How much are we getting?
Yeah, don't worry, boys. I got you some swag. I got you your Mob Mothma.
Yay!
So my 4th game was against Phasma Trooper Guavian, a personal favourite of mine. And if there was any deck that I was going to be happy to lose to, it would be this. It's also a deck that I was absolutely terrified about. The big thing and the real big weakness to the 5 dice fill-in rainbow deck is removal. You have a lot of +2 sides and not a lot of black damage sides. Just even on your guns and everything, there's just so many like modified sides, and you just don't have a great deal of black sides to kind of back that up. So when you start like guarding away the 1s, and then you're just left with nothing. At one point, I was re-rolling dice, and I ended up with showing 7 damage, but it was all modifiers, and I just couldn't hit a black side to connect it up and see it through. So unfortunately, he did manage to beat me, and he had his little he had a little smile that he'd beaten me, aka the national champion, which people. I swear people mention it more than I do, and I didn't think that'd ever be possible.
That's certainly not possible.
Yeah,
that's not possible.
Surprised.
But yeah, I was. I'm trying to think who it was. It was the Palpatine player afterwards, or before the game. He took my photo. I kind of sat opposite him, ready to play. So got a little set of fame, guys. I don't think I can go with it. Might have to quit playing.
Jesus. I have no words.
It's probably best, and not like any other episode, really. So I was, at this point, 3-1. So I had to win my last game to guarantee myself in. Thinking about it, if he had won his last game, there was a good chance that I would have been in the top of the 3-1s. The 4-1s. No, sorry, the 3 and 2s numbers. There's a good chance I could have snuck in on that 4th spot, but I really needed to win this last game to guarantee my spot. So I sit down and my opponent's playing Elite Qui-Gon, Elite Kanan, which was a deck I was worried about because obviously it just pits out so much shields and does so many ridiculous plays with Kanan focusing into melee to then guard your dice away, or like into a forced misdirection, or it just does ridiculous things. So I decided that I wanted to what am I saying? Oh yeah, so I decided that I wanted to kill Kanan first, to stop all these like little tricks that Kanan gets to pull off, which went quite well. I kind of pit a couple of damage into Qui-Gon. He shielded back up. I think he had 3 damage and 3 shields, and then I just did 10 damage and one-shot him, which was a pretty good feel.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stop you because there's so much TV noise coming from someone's mic, and I don't know which one of you it is, but it's really high up.
It's probably me. Because I'm really professional.
There's some really like action sequency thing going on. I just can't concentrate at all. Danny sounds like he's like reporting from the front lines. It sounds like a really dramatic.
I'm telling you, man, it was the front lines. I was there in person playing a Destiny tournament.
Oh my god!
Much more prestigious than playing all these TTS ones. Not to take anything away from Artificery, I love those guys. So yeah, after I had one-shot Kanan, I kind of relaxed a bit, and you know, you're just playing that fair fight against Qui-Gon at this point. He's going to obviously keep pinging shields at you, so it's all about getting those quick resolves in. Like I didn't, you know, if I saw 3 damage, I kind of took it to take the shields off and just, you know, plink away at him. I didn't want to get overwhelmed with these just constant pings that Qui-Gon likes to kick out. So and I did basically just kept just timing my damage well, taking off his shields, and eventually took him out. So I finished the Swiss at 4-1, which guaranteed me through and got me second. Because the Phasma Trooper Guavian managed to top Swiss going 5-0, which is just showing how great that deck is now when you can't get FN rolled off the table anymore. Carry on.
Sorry, you had a little. You sound like a robot a bit then, so I didn't hear what you said. I don't know if it was. Hopefully, our listeners at home, that was clear to them, but I didn't hear what you said. So, what was that? What was your last piece there?
That I can't even remember now. Qui-Gon does loads of ping damage.
You don't get rolled off the
doesn't
table by
matter.
FF.
Move on.
Yeah, move on. So I finished Swiss, second place, feeling quite confident. You know, I'm only 2 games away now from winning the Spot Gloss Stormtrooper, which was my main reason for going, as well as supporting a wonderful cause, etc., etc. But you know, there's 2 Spot Gloss Troopers in the country, I believe, and I have one of them. So
feels good.
Fancy pants. So basically, how I make myself. Well, allow myself to sleep at night is I say to myself that when I'm collecting my promos, I'm only collecting the ones made of cardboard. I mean, I've got the Phasma one, but all the other plastic ones, spot glossy ones, they don't count, man. I'm just going for the cardboard promos.
You sure?
I
could sell you my trooper at a very fair and reasonable price.
I don't know who values this stuff, man. Like, who is the guy who goes, do you know what? That's worth 150 quid, pal. Like, what? I never understand it. I never understand how how promo market prices are just worked out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. So I sit down for first game of elimination, and I'm playing against Phasma Django, but this is a different Phasma Django to who I played round 1 in the day. And the way I look at this matchup is you kill Django as quick as possible, so you can't. So he can't, when you roll out, he can't roll out against you and just hit you for stupid damage. What ended up happening though, round 1, I rolled out 7 damage. And because Phasma has 10 hit points and he had 2 shields on Django, I decided to pit it into Phasma in the hope that he would best defense next round after I did some nonsense and kill her. It turns out he didn't draw best defense for the whole game, so I ended up having to finish her off before going out to Django. But the real advantage that I had is that he didn't manage to kill any of my characters. So when it came to just Django left alive, he only had a certain amount of actions to stall out before we just had to roll Django in, and then I could roll out one of my characters out in response. So, you know, playing backup muscles and just, you know, pinging the ones over, just slow myself down enough so he didn't get that free range burst on me if he rolled well. And so we finished that round. Obviously this is top cut, so it's all best of 3, and I beat him 2-0. And then during that time, the guys next to me, it was Kanan Qui-Gon versus Phasma Bala Guavi, and they had just finished game 2 and they had gone 1-1, and they must have had the longest slugfest of a game. It was probably about half an hour 40 minutes they were probably playing that last game for. At least it felt like that long. But the Phasma player managed to pull it out, and he went 2-1. So I had to sit down across the guy who had beaten me in Swiss to go first prize and take home my Stormtrooper. And oh man, I've said it a lot, but I really wanted that Stormtrooper. So we play the first game, and I killed Phasma round 2. I killed the Stormtrooper, killed his Guardian. I lost Balor, but I got a reactivation out of him after I killed Phasma. So my deck did what my deck does, and it just rolled tons of damage, removed some key cards, and I won the game. The second game, though, it started off well. I managed to get a blaster on Balor, got a Force Illusion on Balor. He ends up rolling out and ends up with a +1 and a +2, so I get the Force Illusion. 3 damage off Balor, which feels really good against a 3-character deck, so I can get some activations off him. But then I discard He Doesn't Like You, Doubt, and Sound the Alarm. I've only got 8 removal cards in my deck, but that was almost discarding half of them, which was going to be fine, okay? I lost a bit of removal, but I'm still going to roll tons of damage, and it's going to be great. Next round starts. First thing he plays is the Relby Mortar Gun. The 3-cost drop from Spirit Rebellion, which basically says pay 2 resources and deal the damage showing on this die to all your opponent's characters. And I had no removal in hand for 2 rounds, and he did 15 damage. Yeah.
Oh, just to confirm, that is the Relby Mortar Gun is from Empire at War.
Oh, that's the one.
So the one with Bosk on the front.
The one with Bosk on it, the only good Bosk card.
Yeah.
And because I had discarded 3 removal off the top of my deck, I just drew guns and like backup muscles, and I was just like, I've got no removal. So I was thinking, well, is it worth to use the Night Sister ability to try and ping the Mortar Gun off damage onto not damage? But it's got 50% damage size. It's either going to be doing 2 or 3 damage. So if I ping the 3 into a 2, it's only saving me 2 damage because I'm still having to do 1 to the Night Sister. So maybe it was the correct call just to try and ping it to get it off the damage, but obviously it just then allows him to re-roll and resolve it again anyway. So it was an interaction that I was not best comfortable with, and would have really just to have loved to deflect it or He Doesn't Like You it or anything like that. But once you've taken 15 damage and you've got 20, I think that deck's got 24 health, he just cleared me up after that. There's no way of coming back from just that, the huge swing. So anyone who's listening and you're facing a lot of 3 and 4 character decks in your local meta, put some Mortar Guns in, because just a Mortar Gun and just paying those 2 resources every round, you don't need anything else. It's really good. It kind of opened up my eyes to how good that card can really be.
Yeah, it's one that I've always thought had a lot of potential. Just the fact that the action is so strong, and
yeah,
and especially now we're going to start to see more combinations of 3, possibly 4 characters, just to splash the damage across them is always going to be tasty.
Yeah, it was something else. So I was nervous. So again, it was very similar to my Nationals game, where it's just like, oh god, I've now won 1 and I'm going into game 3, which is always good from like an end of tournament perspective, right? You don't want to just smash through your cut rounds 2-0, because it builds more excitement for the game and everything. So we went into the last game, and it felt pretty even for both of us. And then I just managed to get some surprise damage on Phasma after he had equipped another Relby Mortar Gun to her. But I managed to kill her before she managed to actually roll out and resolve it, which at that point completely swung the game into my favour. I still had the reactivation off Balor then, which then shotgunned into his trooper, so I could remove best defense. And yeah, within kind of 2 turns, I managed to seal out the win and take home the championship. So I ended up getting myself it's like a whole list of stuff, but I got another Phasma playmat and I've got token sets from all four Q kit tokens. I've got the 2 promo cards from Q4. I've got it was just I ended up like the list must be about 20 promo cards. The Spot Gloss Trooper, playmat. It's just a real shout out to how good, just how good these prizes were. And as far as like turnout to the event, I was surprised. I was expecting a big turnout, if not only just for that Spot Gloss Stormtrooper, but I guess it being in Southampton, it's right on the south coast, so it's not it's a real kind of commitment to kind of go down there and play. There's only 14 people that showed up, so hopefully next year, some of you, Gaming vs. Cancer 2018, if you're in the UK, you've got no excuse, and I'm going to drag James and Leighton with me. I'm pointing at the screen right now.
Yeah, man. I'll add on down, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
So head down next year. It was a really, really good event. The majority of the players was just the Southampton local scene, and they were all great guys. Kind of being there on my own, they just made me feel really welcome, just chatting and just really love for the game. Also, just kind of on a side note, after the Swiss rounds, the organizer ran an 8-man pod that they ran at Europeans, and they had a booster packs and Emperor Throne rooms as prize support for that tournament as well. So while we were playing the top cart, everyone else was still, playing loads of games of Destiny. So, just really well done. The organizer, Carl, was great. And although he was constantly drinking the whole day.
Hey, he's enjoying himself, having a good old time.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lie. I think I saw him have 1 beer right near the end of the day. But I said
probably a lot of stress running an event,
yeah.
Well, you have experience running events, don't you? So
yeah.
You know what card players are like.
Yes, I do. It was kind of a 2-day event, and also on that day they had the Netrunner Championship, Gaming vs. Cancer Championship, and they had probably about 35 players. So I feel like we've got a healthier game community than Netrunner guys. So next year I want to see you out there.
Well, Netrunner around here is pretty quiet, but I think Netrunner's in a pretty good place at the Nationals. There's quite a fair few people playing Netrunner. Yeah. But now you've got your Spot Glass Gary and your Spot Gloss Phasma. All you need to do is now get a Spot Gloss Guavian, and then you can be the Mr. Plastic Fantastic.
Mr. Plastic. That is what I'm going to call that deck.
If they make a Spot Gloss Guavian, definitely.
If anyone wants to make me a Spot Gloss Guavian, say that 3 times quick.
Or a Smot Gloss, if you want to make a Smot Moss Guavian as well. I'll really like to see what that could possibly be.
Hot Foster Guavian.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Danny is asserting his dominance well and truly.
Yeah, so I'm going to go out and say 100% the best player in the UK. I will challenge anyone at any event.
He's throwing it down.
I am throwing it down. I've gone there. That's I'm 2 titles in. I'm 5 more titles. I'm gonna be like Daenerys Targaryen, right? So it's be like Danny Adlam, UK Nationals, Gaming vs. Cancer, Breaker of Destinies, the Unburnt, the Unbroken.
She's got to find George Jon Snow to.
If anyone wants to show me some cave paintings, I'm well up for it.
Okay, I think after that we should probably swiftly move on. So FFG have swarmed us with articles in the last few days. We've got news of rotations, we've got news of galactic qualifiers, and we've also got a tasty article with some new blue spoilers. So let's go through the blue spoilers first, because I think there's some pretty tasty stuff here. We're not going to go through every single card, but we'll go through a few cards that we think are pretty interesting. So we'll start off with Maul. So Maul's the vengeful one. He's an 11 health villain who's a legendary. He's 12 cost for a single dial, 16 for the elite version, and his dice sides are 2 sticks, 3 sticks for 1 disrupt, 1 discard, a resource, and a blank. And he has an interesting sort of passive ability, which is after one or more of this character or upgrade dice are removed by an opponent card effect, you may remove 1 of their dice. So I'm going to James has been quiet. James, tell me what you think about Your main man, Maul.
My main man, Maul. I was really happy to see him. I was really excited that we weren't being duped by the leaked art as we were with Leia and Boba from Empire at War. And so it's nice to see that he's an actual character. And I thought he was really good at first. I was like, yeah, Maul. And then, as always, you guys bring me down to ground level and say, actually, James, he's only got 2 damage side. One of them costs you $1. And the rest of his die isn't that great. But his ability is really interesting. I think it's pretty cool. And we were talking before the cast about what he'd go with, and there's not a huge amount. I still do want to just try the Elite Maul, Elite 7th Sister for a 5 dice mono blue start, just because I love those 2 characters. Well, I love the artwork anyway on both of them. I think they're quality. And you know me, that's just what I like to go for.
The rule of cool.
You know, sod actually good decks and good character combinations. Just give me some cool looking characters and I'll have a bash.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to give him a go if I'm lucky enough to pull him.
Yeah, the one thing I kind of take away from the rest of his dice, so yeah, he's only got 2 melee sides, 2 melee damage sides, but his other 3 die faces synergize with, the broken zero-cost supports of Spirit of Rebellion. So you've got the Disrupt for Imperial Inspection, you've got the Discard for the Dark Presence, and then you've got the Resource for the Salvage Stand. So if you pair him up with another character that's got a discard side, you could probably get some really great removal from Dark Presence.
Mm.
Does 7th Sister have a discard side? I can't remember. If she does.
I'm not sure.
I know the she doesn't, but I believe the Seeker Droid does, doesn't it? No, she doesn't. She's got Disrupt, Shield, Resource, but the Seeker Droid has it. So yeah. There you go.
You go, synergies already. So, yeah, but other than that, they not being able to force strike him it feels pretty bad because you're not going to force strike for a 3-for-1. But he is only 16 points, which is a lot less than 17 points, which is normally what we see a lot of villain elite pairings at. So it should open up some nice combinations with him. But I think we'll just need to see what other characters we're going to get from this set, because not a lot have been announced for the villain side yet. So
no, I liked his flavor text because I saw some people were upset. He was just called Maul, and he's formerly Maul. Sorry, formerly Darth, now just Maul.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a line he says in Rebels, isn't it? Or
yeah,
I've still only seen the first season of Rebels, so I'm not so
spoilers. Maul is in Rebels,
and spoiler alert, he's no longer a Darth. He is just Maul.
Well,
he's really cool, actually. Oh, sorry, go.
No, I was going to say, I think after he got cut in half and kicked down a hole, he lost his Darth title.
That's true. Yeah. Palpatine wasn't too happy to see him in Clone Wars again either. One thing I've just thought is 7th Sister is like the most unthematic character pairing, actually, because he actually fights against the Inquisitors along the side of Kanan and Ezra in that episode. So I don't know if I could really put 7th Sister down beside him and feel good about it.
Yeah, but the rule of cool is surely more important than like the rule of like logic.
Thematics. Yeah, that's true. That's a very, very, very good point. But yeah, sorry. Anyway, back to actual card game talk and not my stupid Star Wars geek talk.
Still, I mean, obviously, there's still a lot more characters to come out, so there might be a good 14-point pairing with him.
Yeah.
And also, as you're saying, at this price point, this might be sort of like the benchmark we're going to start to see with this sort of price point. A character's got a pretty powerful ability, and has got 2 damage sides that are okay, but one of them has to be a cost point now. So might be what they're going for. Like I would imagine if it was 2 and 3 without a resource, you definitely would see him as a 20-point elite.
Yeah.
So by banging that, so maybe in their little algorithm they've got, by banging that resource on, that does in fact,
it does lower him down and
lower his points cost.
Yeah, I mean, and he's not awful. And I'm just kind of looking for what else has been announced. Dr. Aphra is 14-point elite, which she is kind of crazy interesting, and it gives you access to Villain Yellow, and Villain Yellow makes a lot of money, along with even Villain Blue makes a fair amount of money. So there could be an interesting pairing there. Obviously, you're rolling all 3 damage types, but hey, as we'll see later on, sometimes that's not with one of the other characters. Maybe that's not the worst thing in the world.
Cool. So that's more. We'll move on to the next one, which is I think is absolute bananas. That is the new Palpatine. So this guy is only a rare. and he's a 12 health, 16-20 rare. So 16 point single dice, 20 point elite, and his dice sides are 2 guns, 2 sticks, 2 what's the indirect damage. So 2 splash. That's what I'm going to call it. We're going to have guns, sticks, and splash. That's what I'm going to call these damage types.
God.
So he's got 2 guns, 2 sticks, 2 splash, and then 2 single resource sides and a blank. And he has got a amazing power action, which is you need to play an event from your hand, decreasing its cost by the number of different damage symbols, guns, sticks, or splash, showing on your dice. So as the article alludes to, you can get some absolutely disgusting things off of him. These big sort of like cards that normally cost 3+ that you normally really struggle to play now are a lot more accessible. And I think cards like Decisive Strike, I believe it is the one where when you resolve one of your die, Decisive Blow, and then remove all of someone's dice. Is that?
It's upgrades.
Is it?
Character and upgrade dice to the character.
Well, you know what it does. I just know it does something really good that no one uses. And I can see it being used. I'm now going to read that card because that's what we do here. It's a neutral, isn't he? He's Spirit Rebellion blue neutral.
Yes.
If I remember it. Decisive Blow. Resolve one of your dice showing melee damage, and then remove all character and upgrade dice of the character you just dealt damage to. So there you go. So there's only obviously one target on old Palpatine's dice, and he is Darth Sidious in the subtitle. But you've got your stick showing, you've got your gun showing, only for one resource. Now you can just resolve your sticks and remove something, basically wipe a character out for a turn.
Yeah,
so that's pretty.
And even like, okay, Palpatine's only got the one melee side, but you're going to be playing double resource side is. 2-1 resource size is he's gonna make you a fair amount of money still, so you can easily be playing lightsabers and vibro knives and all this kind of stuff to get those like small increments of melee damage to make Decisive Blow just really good.
Yeah, because Decisive Blow's he hasn't got to be your character dice. It's just one of your dice.
Melee.
Yeah, any melee. So yeah, that's gonna be a fucking disgusting combination.
Yeah.
And obviously the article talks about playing Rise Again nice and cheaply, and then you've also got this new card Snare, which could be quite nice. Could be just another way of wiping out a character. There's a lot of complete wipeout potential with Palpatine.
Yeah, is he going to be better than original Palpatine?
I think he's just as impressive. Like Danny was talking before about potential pairing. I won't steal the thunder from that. I'll let him or James can steal the thunder about the potential pairing. But I think it's going to be. I'm really looking forward to giving this Palpatine a go, because I've only ever had single die Palpatine, and I was saying to Danny before we start recording that I've been thinking about grabbing another copy so I can give him a little go. But yeah, I think this guy's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Okay, and James, so who do you think pairing wise goes well with him?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I've been playing a bit of, and then deciding it's just not going to work. Grand Inquisitor with Elite with a Gamoran Guard. It's quite fun, but you basically just live for those hidden agendaed Rise Agains, especially when you've got resource like cost sides on both your dice. So it's a really expensive deck to run, and he just fits in there so much better for 20 points instead of the 19 on Inquisitor. He's just a much better character, and then you've got an 11-point Guardian character and access to, like you said, Dan, one of the best villain, one of the best colors in the game, which is villain yellow.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be a great pairing, but then you completely.
Saying that as well, though, kind of looking into more of the event side of things, like Decisive Blow, Gamorrean Guard does synergize really well with. Okay, yeah, you've got to pay one for his 3 side, but I don't think money's going to be a big deal in this deck because again, you've got villain yellow and villain blue.
Yeah,
that the 2 sets just make loads of money.
And with 2 single resource sides as well, if you're going to be playing. What's it called again? Salvage stand. You've got your dice normally with Palpatine. I guess you're going to want him normally to be damaged. He hits a resource. Normally, you'd be like, "Oh man!" But now you're like, "Sweet, bit of resource control."
Yeah, and he kind of takes you into that longer choke kind of game, which the original Palpatine is known for as well, right? Just constantly healing and shielding, and just choking you out of mainly just through loads of damage, but.
Well, with cards like Decisive Blow, like you're saying, and also Snare, when you exhaust a character, if you've got an exhausted character, these high-cost cards that can just literally choke your opponent out, and just you do a little bit of damage, but they don't have anything to do for a turn.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty cool thing as well. And with the hidden agenda thing, we worked out that they are both actions, so you can't power action Sidious and then resolve that in effect with hidden agenda. But together you get it would have been crazy good. But I mean, even without that though, it's still, I think you still might see it, because you can still just throw all these events out, through the power action and then through the hidden agenda and stuff. They're still getting loads of cheap events, which I think is quite a cool little mechanic.
Yeah. So kind of the first time I kind of saw this character, and I'm definitely coming around to the Pigman, because it obviously gives you Guardian 11 health. But I really want to try it with Veteran Stormtrooper. He consistently it gives you another indirect damage side. He gives you some range sides, so you're gonna potentially get higher value out of Palp's power action. But he's 9 points for 9 health. And it allows you to play double best defense and double cannon fodder, and he'll probably still be alive after you play those 4 cards on him as well, because I feel like everyone's really going to go for Palpatine, because he's an absolute monster, really. And also then allows you to play endless ranks, which you can then use his power action to make it cost 3 or 4, depending if you start playing grenades that have got indirect, or all these sorts of things. So. And again, with villain, even villain Reds does all right with like things like logistics and prepare for war in supply line in creating money to allow you to even hardcast play again to bring your Stormtrooper back, because it's just like the best thing ever in Destiny, right, is to endless ranks a Death Trooper and have him run back at you with 10 hit points, and this is almost as good as that.
Yeah, 1 health less, but he's got a die that definitely synergizes more with Palpatine. Like you said, you've got the guns and the splash.
And it lets you play Z6 Riot Baton, which is the best gun weapon in the game. So
melee weapon in the game.
Oof, no, I think that's probably the best weapon in the game.
Yeah, but you said best gun weapon in the game.
Wow, you could throw it at someone.
Just spin it like a boomerang.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. They definitely got it wrong. It definitely should be ranged.
You wait, in the new Star Wars film, which is out in exactly 1 month from us recording this, by the way, I'm pretty hyped. In that scene where he's fighting Phasma, where Finn's fighting Phasma with his riot baton, he's just going to throw it at her at some point.
Yeah.
It here first.
And then you can say, yeah, James, you owe me a burrito. And I say, okay.
Ooh. Okay, yeah, deal.
But if it doesn't happen, you owe me a burrito. Okay.
Oh. Okay. I'm in.
Burrito trades. What is this? What is this madness?
I don't know. It's the first thing I could think of. We're talking about a card game.
Well, it's a step up from a pack of Marmite crisps. So
that's true. We're evolving, constantly evolving. Is the thing.
Cool. I feel like I need to take control of this podcast again. So let's move on to the next card. Right. The next card we're going to talk about is Yoda. He is the Wizened Master. He's a 10 HP. Legendary character. We have 10 points for a single die and 13 for the elite. And his die is bonkers. So he has 2 focus, 1 disrupt, 1 discard, 1 shield, special. So he's the first character to not have a single blank on his die. And he has a special, which is very similar to Force Training, which I think is super apt for this character, is choose and do 2 of the following. Gain 1 resource, give a character 1 shield, turn 1 of your die to any side, or discard the top card from a deck. Do or do not. There is no try.
I think that's
what
the card.
What do you boys think?
Isn't that what's on our Padawan card as well?
Yeah, that's the card I picked for our Padawan, yeah.
Cheers, FFG, from stealing that very famous quote from us.
They know a good thing when they see it, and they've definitely been keeping an eye on us. No, I think it's a cool little character. I love that he's like more of a support dude, because I'm one of those sort of original trilogy purists that hate the fact that he spins around and has 1,000,001 flips in his battle with Count Dooku. I think, like you said, the special is just like Force Training on steroids. I think that's also really apt. So I'm a fan. Yeah.
Yeah, he's so good. This character is good. Normally, when I look at sort of like support characters, I give it blinkered and I'm like, I did damage, man. What's going on? But this guy is He's the dream. He's the dream that you'd want. A 10 HP as well, which is like a really solid number for a support character. I always feel like 9 is always a bit too low.
Yeah.
When you get into those double digits, man, that's where you want to be. Double focus. Essentially, he's got 3 focus sides on his dice. That's absolutely crazy. Yeah, because you've got the double focus, and then he's also got the specials.
Well,
I think you'd be more than happy.
Better than 2 focus, right? Because it lets you focus a die and then something else.
Yeah, and you also chain it into the cards as well. So you can like if you really want to get some speed going, like just the top of my head, you can just like focus into use your special and say I'm resolving specials. I'm going to focus into this force throw into special and throw one of your things at you.
Speed into specials, so I can get 2 more actions. Well, I'm still going to resolve specials. I'm going to flip another die.
Yeah, you do some crazy chaining with it.
Crazy things.
10 HP is 10 points is sort of like the perfect sort of place really, because there's so many really good 20 cost hero characters that you don't want elite. And also with a support character, you kind of with him having no blanks, you really don't mind having the single die. I mean, you could go for some crazy sort of like hero mill strategy where you'd play him elite, but I think you get just as much value out of him as a single die as you would do as an elite.
No, I think it was before Empire at War dropped. I was looking at like just the elite pairings for hero versus villain. I think hero have something like 7 20 cost elite characters, which is crazy. But now we've really got a really solid 10-point character to put with them, and even at the 13 points, like Yoda Qui-Gon, right? You give Qui-Gon a shield, and then you'll focus one of his die to melee or shields, right? That's still really good. And especially when you pair him with Padme, where you can go, okay, I'm going to resolve specials, and I'm going to give a shield to Padme, and then turn this other Yoda die to special, which I'm going to give another shield to Padme, and then turn her die to special, which I'll then resolve to mill 2 off your top. It's really good. The one thing that really lets Yoda down is his like lack of natural money side, but it's kind of built into his specials. So,
I mean, say if you get the dream, like say if you roll those 2 specials on that Yoda Padme deck, is it presuming it's 2 dice Yoda, 2 dice Padme? Because
yes.
I don't know that deck. So you can, instead of just giving a shield, you could do the discard a top card of a deck. So you could basically do, well, what is that, 6 off the top of their deck?
Yeah.
That is insane, isn't it, when you think about it? It's pretty nasty.
It's pretty nasty. And that's, even thinking that you haven't got, if you manage to actually roll a focus on Padme, then suddenly you don't need to do that. And you can now, gain a resource and flip a die, and it just gives you so many options, doesn't it?
He opens up a world of options. He's great.
Yeah. And
isn't Luke 17 as well, the new Luke?
He is
the new set. I think it's
13 or 14. I can't remember off the top of my
head. Okay. Never mind then.
Yeah, no.
I don't remember what his dice is. I was just.
He's definitely under 15 points. I want to say he's 14 points, but it's interesting to see that all the good hero, the things that are going to make heroes good, are just these really busted support characters like Maz and Yoda. So hopefully in this set as well, we do see some really solid 15, 16, 17 point hero characters, and we'll start to see a trend away from those 20-point elite.
Will we see a rise as the article alludes to single die Yoda, elite awakenings Luke?
No, because Luke is still bad.
All right, the end.
The end of that conversation.
Yeah, end of that chapter. So yeah, Yoda, he is great. I'm also happy that we've got old Yoda. We will get one day. We'll get prequel Yoda.
Yeah,
and he'll be
where he's 50 years younger and much flippier.
Yeah, for some reason, when you're like 300 years old, those last 50 years, man, they
really take their toll.
They really take their toll. Yeah,
just realise it's not even 50, is it? It's 17 years because Luke is literally born that day. Jesus.
Yeah. So.
Cheers, George.
Cheers.
Cool.
Cheers, George. To George.
Okay, so we'll move on to another one of the characters. We've got Alaya Sakura, probably butchered that name. She's a Jedi General. She's 10 HP. She's another rare. 9 for a single die and 12 for elite, which is always going to be very tasty. And let's look at the dice. We've got 1 stick, 2 sticks, 2 splash, 1 resource, and a special. And a special reads: you turn one of your blue or red dice to any side. Turn an opponent's die to any side. So what do you guys think of this character that saw about 5 seconds of screen time before she got shot in the butt?
She's pretty good, but I mean, we know with Destiny they like to make these characters that get 5 seconds of screen time before they get shot in the butt really good. Like FN, for example, was one of the best people ever, and I mean, he got blown up by a bowcaster, wasn't it?
He was
after 10 seconds. So I think she's great. I think she looks like a. It's like the special reminds me of the new 2-player set Poe, but on steroids again. So yeah, I think she's pretty good for her points anyway. I think she's going to be maybe part of some cool 3-character suites, maybe.
Yeah, again, she's just a really good support character, right? She's got 50% damage size. She's making you money, and the special, while not like brokenly good, is soft mitigation and a focus on your own dies. So it's nothing to snug up, but it's the 12 points for Elite, which is where she's really going to shine. She's going to be great in some 3-character lineups. You can start focusing, rebel troopers to guns, and it's going to allow more kind of diverse, 3-man, even 4-man teams if you take a single die. She was really good. I think we're going to see her in quite a bit of play.
Yeah, she's for the points costing, because you look at sort of like the people that cost that points before, and you've got characters like sort of like Rey comes to mind as a cheap sort of blue support character. They don't get the speed. She's got 3 damage sides there. They're mixed. They're all right, and her special's pretty good. It allows you to chain. I'm a big fan of running all in with cards that have multiple damage sides and whatnot, so you can do yourself some tasty combos with her. I think this is going to be a really good character.
I kind of, on the subject of Rey, I feel like she's better than Rey. Because
I do too.
I think Rey gets a lot of press for being like oppressive and like needs to be nerfed or whatever. But when has Rey ever won anything? Like, she never does. So this is 1,000 times better than Rey. So I'm just calling it now that Rey's not a bad card by any means, but she's not as good as people think she is, and this is someone who is significantly better than her.
So yeah, I mean,
agreed.
you could definitely fit her in Elite in some cool like 3-character setups. How many points is Naz again, Elite?
11.
11, I think.
Yeah. So that still leaves you 7 points. So you can get Ezra, rookie pilot.
Yeah, well, there's combos there. Yeah. I'm sure the deck wizards of the world, you have their spreadsheets out there
can put us together something nice.
Yeah, no, I think she's going to be a pretty solid character. Cool. What else have we got? So that's all the characters out there. There's another really pretty cool card. This is a support card. I guess we'll talk about defensive teaching. Each of your blue characters can have 1 additional shield. Now that has some crazy application. Qui-Gon Jinn is just getting better and better and better.
Yeah, and it's not even that, right? It's not even unique. So you can play 2 of these. So Qui-Gon can get to 5 shields, and then you can repost them. Like just that alone is bananas good, right? Even on with the new Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? You can give him 5 shields, play Obi-Wan's lightsaber on him, do 5 damage, riposte 5 damage. Like, this is all kind of the dream scenario, right? But these are all things that are going to happen eventually.
Yeah, it's just a better Mandalorian armor.
Yeah.
That doesn't take up one of your upgrade slots. So you can still have more shields and roll more dice with more weapons, and it costs you nothing. So yeah, it's madness, absolute madness. Be good. And obviously last set had a lot of good cards to help out old Qui-Gon. But yeah, this is crazy good. What do you think about it, James?
It's blue here. I don't care. I've been playing a bit of blue here recently, and it's really good. And I remember Qui-Gon being really big, especially for you Leighton in Awakenings days. So it's nice to see the old man's getting some love. The most useless Jedi in the world getting some love.
Wow. I mean, he wasn't the best. But I mean,
well, it's
midichlorians.
kind of his fault. Everything's his fault, right?
Well, it's Jar Jar's fault. It's all part of his master plan.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But it's speaking of good new blue hero cards, I just do want to mention, is it Ataru Strike? Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah. Ataru Strike, I'd say.
Yeah.
Wait, 'cause he's the Ataru master, isn't he? Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes with him.
So yeah, you resolve one of your blue dice showing melee damage, increasing it by the number of shields on that character. So now when you can start having 5 shields Qui-Gons and resolving for 1, 7 damage with his +2 side, this is all, again, very kind of big stuff. But if you can find those ways to, after your opponent's claim, to just pile on loads of shields, defensive stance is going to come back in a big way for these kind of things. Even maybe take cover or hunker downs. Like, these are all cards that allow you to persistently gain shields every round. So really excited to try the have loads of shields on your guys and just do tons of damage with them.
Even without the defensive teaching, like increase the number of shields on your characters. Even without that, even a fully shielded 3 shield Qui-Gon, that Ataru Strike's 1 damage. It's out of nowhere. You got a two out from Qui-Gon. That's 5 damage for 1.
Yeah,
like
it's probably not 4 strike good, but it's still very close. Because even paying 1 to increase the die by 2 is better than anything we've currently got, right? A lot of the cards are pay 1 to increase the side by 1, and they don't see any plays. So when you can start getting these huge numbers,
we're talking about a great card, not a good one. I think that's the point we're making.
Yeah,
Ataru Strike will be in most blue hero, well, especially Qui-Gon and shield blue hero decks.
When you can caution as well and just get instant 3 shields and
oh yeah, fun times.
It's basically like the sort of wording that the strength of the Force, whatever that card was from Awakenings, the one where you can resolve one of your dice equal to the value showing on one of your dice equal to the blue upgrade. It should have been like increase it by the number of blue upgrades, but yeah, that's the sort of wording I always felt that card should have.
Yeah,
I mean, say you got 2 defensive teachings out, so I just thought your opponent's claimed or whatever. You caution a dice to give Qui-Gon 3 shields. Your defensive stance. So this has only cost you 1 resource at this point. He's got 5 shields on, then you roll him out and do that.
Yeah.
It's not impossible. It's far from impossible. I've just thought about it. And that's cost you a grand total of 1 resource to do 5 damage.
Well, you still have to pay the 1 for Ataru Strike.
Oh, sorry, 2 for 5 damage. And
you've still got 5 shields.
Yeah, you don't remove those shields, which is the most insane thing.
Yeah, which you then can riposte for nothing. Riposte is free, right? So that's another 5.
Yeah. You can actually do that in your starting hand. If you drew 2 defensive teachings, a caution, a defensive stance, and a riposte, you're looking at 10 damage with 2 resources.
Feels really good. I can't wait to play this deck.
So I think I looking at this new stuff that's coming out, I do really feel like this game is going into a really good direction. Jeremy, our Lord and Savior.
Everyone's been saying that at the moment, but let's just point out Lucas is going to have his hand in the next 3 sets that comes out. Like,
he's got his muddy paw in it, but
he's wow, like his cards are. We're going to probably, if not like most of the last set of this next trilogy of sets, the one that we're going to see around October 2018 will probably have some of his influence still in it, but after that we're looking at pure Jeremy territory.
Cool. So talking about that, I guess the next thing we can kind of discuss then would be rotation.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good. I really enjoyed the way they've done it. From my perspective, like the standard rotation is a pretty standard rotation. Keeping the last 2 years worth of cards in play, and then after a year you lose half of it, and then you build it back up, and then you lose half of it, and then you build it back up. So you're constantly, got that old stuff and that is going to be good, and then just kind of get that injection of new stuff straight away that goes into it. So you're only ever going to play like 2 sets down. Which when you look at, we're playing with 3 sets at the moment, we're still going to be playing with more cards after a rotation than we are, right now. So it just gives you tons and tons of play options.
My only issue is that like the way they're doing it is they're removing a whole block in one go. So like this, so hypothetically speaking, if we say Awakenings was like Q1 of year 1, and then Spirit Rebellion was Q2, and then we had like Q3 was the last set we now had, whatever it's fucking called.
No one likes
the set that no one cares about because there's like 3 good cards in it. Then you do it again for like another one. So you have all those cards being in, but by the time that new, like for instance, when we have this the Legacies block, we're going to have there's the set which we're going to get, then there'll be another set come out for Legacies, which then forces out the Awakenings block. But that means the Awakenings like set cards would have been in play almost a year longer than the cards that we've got from Empire at War. So what a lot of card games normally do is, as a new set comes in, you remove an old set. Do that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got 1, 2, 3 come out, and then you've got 4 and 5 come out. So you've got 5 sets in rotation. Then when set 6 comes in, set 1 leaves. So you still have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then when set 7 comes in, you take out set 2. So you still have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that allows the older sets to have an equal amount of time, because if not, the set that comes in first is going to be in play a lot longer than the other ones.
Well,
and I think
that's true for like the start of it. I guess.
No,
it's
going to be true for Cycle 3. When Cycle 3 comes out, they bring in that first set, then the next one, the next one.
With it.
Yeah, the Legacies is going to be in play for the whole time. So Legacies is going to be in play for the whole time. All of 3 or whatever 4 boxes of Cycle 3 comes out.
Yeah.
But the last set from some Legacies comes out disappears as soon as the final set of Cycle 3 comes in. But then that means that you only had those cards in play a lot less time.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of tough to judge with the way that obviously they're saying that the first set is the base set, and the 2 sets after that are expansions. Which, does that just mean that the first set has got all your staples or all your really good removal, like we saw in Awakenings, where then the expansions kind of explore deeper into those caveats? So if that was the case, if you were to lose the base set, do a lot of the expansion cards become useless at that point because they don't have the support from that base set, from that block of cards?
Yeah, I mean it's all hypotheticals and. At the moment, but I would have thought that it depends. Like I say, it depends on what the quality of those cards in. Like in other card games, for instance, like in Pokemon, because there are staples that are always in decks. When you build a deck, you put these staples in before you put anything else in. Their cards tend to get reprinted throughout sets, or they are in sets that stay in play, a bit longer. Or they don't just do the reprint route. Magic the Gathering traditionally tends to do when they have the new core set come out, that tends to be 50-50 old cards reprinted and new cards. I mean, I've not played Magic the Gathering competitively now for nearly 10 years, so I always remember that kind of was the case. I'm just a bit unsure with this whole just removing a whole block when a new block starts. It just feels like, and I might be completely wrong, but because I've not put this pen to paper, but just looking at those images and not having a time frame, it just feels like, I say, the last set of a previous block will have less play in standard than the first one will.
Yeah, and I think if that will kind of reflect how much you buy into that last set as well. It's kind of my biggest regret with Empire at War is just how much of the product I purchased. Although most of the sets really good for filling in gaps, as you say, for actual card quality, there isn't a whole lot in there. So I think it's just for the completionists, maybe it feels a bit bad. But if you're playing a bit savvier and buying singles and etc., then it allows you just to not invest too heavily into that last set because you are only going to get a year out of it.
What do you think, James?
I think I'm just going to be buying singles or the odd booster. I think from is it Rivals or is it Legacies?
Legacies is the new base.
Because you're a player on a budget, really, aren't you, James? Because you're a student.
Yeah.
So you're always the conservative purchaser because you've got to think about what you're going to play, so what you're going to buy.
Do I buy dinner or some Destiny packs?
Yeah, or alcohol, as the case is often.
Liquid dinner.
No, the liquid dinner. Yeah, I went into this the whole foray of Destiny knowing that I'm not going to have a binder with every single slot filled. So I think with that mentality, I don't really mind. And it's the same with this. Is I hope that the game entertains me enough to be playing in a couple of years' time when these effects really really matter. But they've still included a couple of different. I know you weren't so happy about it, Leighton, but there's still a couple of different ways to play, including the one where you just pay from that set, which I think is quite interesting, or the crazy one where you pay from all the sets, which I think people are very silly to latch onto and be like, well, I'm only going to play this one, and tournaments, my shop better only put these tournaments on, because card games are built in a certain way, and you probably should play the standard way. Do you know what I mean? Like, with all those cards, there's already hundreds of cards. It's already hard to choose a 30-card deck, I find. With all these cards in play, like the longer one I think that's just for fun, really, more than anything. So people that are latching onto is it Infinite?
Yeah.
I think that's a silly idea to latch onto that. But at the same time, I'm welcoming the idea of playing in tournaments or casual nights even with that, because I don't want to keep buying loads and loads of cards, especially if they release cards that are similar or almost carbon copies of what they have now, which I don't think will be the case. But if it is, that's kind of me being like, all right, see ya, I've paid for this once, I'm not paying for it again. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I think. You're welcome.
Okay, so I'll talk about rotation. So there's a lot of doomsdayers saying that rotation is like you say, the end of the world. I'm only going to be playing Infinite, because we've got the 3 formats now. We've got Standard, Trilogy, and Infinite. So just a brief rundown. So Standard will be the last year's sort of like stuff that's in play. Then you've got Trilogy, which is just one block. So if you want to play the Awakenings Trilogy, that means you'll be playing the Kylo Ren / Ray Starters, Awakenings, Spirit Rebellion, and I never remember what that Empire at War. I always never remember what that set is called for some reason. So you're going to be playing cards basically to what we're playing with now. So if you want to go back, we could be like a few blocks down. Actually, let's bring the old Awakenings cards out and have a little play with that. Which I just feel like it was just unnecessary. Just have all in or just the standard set. So it's like what Magic do now. They used to have standard, extended, modern, and then like everything, whatever it's called. But then they just have standard, modern, and then everything goes. But that game's got a lot more years to need three sets, categories. And but just before you jump in there, Danny, so I think what we'll see is what they do in the Pokemon community. I don't know if I can really see from what they do here in Norwich is they'll because there's an extended format in Pokemon as well. They'll have like a month, 2 months of standard, then they'll have a month of all the events being expanded. So that means that all that stuff that the hardcore players have accumulated over the years, all those all those cards, now they don't just sit in their binders getting dust. They actually can go to events and play with them. And with all these Doomsayers saying, I'm only going to play Infinite, but does that mean you're never going to buy another card ever again? So you're only ever going to play what you've got. Of course, you're going to be buying packs from the new stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, you might have to buy a little bit more to have a deck that's at the same standard that you got for your Infinite deck. But you're still going to be buying this stuff, so don't be a fucking dick. Just play it, because there's going to be time. There's going to be time for you to use your Infinite stuff, because they'll do Infinite events. I can guarantee it. You go to Nationals. Nationals will be standard, but they'll have side events. We'll have really good prizes that are Infinite. 100%. And they'll definitely, your local shop will probably do a Q-Kit tournament where they'll do an Infinite event.
Jeez, Leighton, just speak your mind, please. Come on.
Well, I just think, I mean, I've got like 15 plus years of playing card game experience, So when I talk about rotations, I'm not talking out my fucking ass. And I played so many different card games, and also in other card games that are eternal, like Yu-Gi-Oh and Card Fight Vanguard, for instance. They have forced rotations anyway, because the new stuff inevitably always becomes better than the older stuff. They'll come up with new mechanics. We've got power actions, for instance. We've now got a new damage type. Who knows what new sort of stuff they're going to introduce in the new things? We might start getting a health creep where characters will start being printed as Palpatine values at 15. There'll be a health creep. Characters will start getting having more health. So your old stuff will just get ruffle stomped anyway, unless you're playing these older events. And even then, some of the stuff doesn't get used. So Vanguard, every card that's ever been printed from set 1, you can still use. There's a limited list and there's a banned list. But if I turned up with like a deck sort of made from cards from set 1, I'd get my ass fucking handed to me, because the game has moved on.
Yeah.
But what they do in that game is they do these cool little half sets, or they look back at the old stuff and they give them support to kind of like to help bring them up to the power levels. So that's something that I can maybe do in Destiny, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Rotation is only good for a card game. Like they put rotation in Hearthstone, and it was only good for Hearthstone. It's always rotations are always good because you have these things that slip through the net, your FNs, you know, your
bait
your
and switches,
getting ambushed, bait and switch, just things. Well, things that have been like really upsetting people, like cards that are undercosted and whatnot. You get these things that slip through the net. Well, they work their way out of rotation, and as this game gets older, they'll be better at seeing those mistakes. The only real thing is when they make new cards, they really need to look back at the older sets and think, hang about how I made some disgustingly broken combination. Because that's one thing they don't do in Vanguard. They focus so much on the new stuff, they really don't look back. Yeah. And there's been times where they've looked back and they'll be like, oh crap, we've like created this like they'll bring out a new card, which is like a newer version of an older card, but it's kind of been balanced to work with the new stuff. But you don't play that. You play the old card because the combination is so much better. So yeah, I think, and then they inevitably have to then do like a limited list on that old card to make you use the new one. So I think it's going to be really good. The game is going to be a lot healthier place. Rotation is always healthy for a game. I get it hurts your bank balance. Not everyone's got the money, to do this. And a few times I've got out of card games because of rotation has happened. But if you really love this game, it will definitely be good for it in the long run. And that's all I got to say about that.
So that's all. Is that really all?
Was that it? Yeah.
Are you sure? That's it.
Don't be a prick.
What we'll do is we'll cut that out and we'll start the Leighton mini-series where he rants.
Yeah, I was going to say today on what grinds my gears with Leighton Pointer.
It'd just be today what fucks me off.
That's fair. No, I think your comment really is that I saw a lot of people saying I'm only going to play limited, and it is just, and I just said like, well, when you have 20,000 cards, only 1,000 of them are going to be playable good because you've only got a 30 card deck, so you can play limited, but you're only going to be playing like a 2 deck meta, which sounds horrendous. I don't know why you'd want to do it.
The only limiting thing is you're limiting yourself and what you're playing and your experience with the game.
Yeah, I can't wait to play, all 3 game modes, the sealed and the draft format. We're going to have 5 different ways to play the game now rather than just one.
Yeah,
like,
literally just finding new experiences. Do you know what I mean? Like new experiences within the same game. Like how many, like we should have had this. We arguably should have had draft for a long time, and it's just injecting fresh life into the game, I think. Because imagine if we just kept going as well from an outsider's perspective. It's already hard enough to get new people into the game when you're 4 sets in or whatever. But like at least now they're going to introduce this rotation where it's like, oh, you don't have thousands of £1,000 worth of card and dice. Like that's fine. You can just join in now.
Yeah, you can play Trilogy.
I was rented there, James. That was another point that I was going to make. That was another point that I was going to make about rotation. It's like the same. Like you look at LCGs. Like if you don't get in an LCG on the ground floor, good luck, mate. Because like with Game of Thrones, if you want to get into Game of Thrones now, you've got to buy 3 core sets. You've got to buy like 15 chapter packs, and you've got to buy and then there's 3 big packs. There's the Stark one, the Lannister one, and there's now a Tyrell one coming out. Like, if you want to be competitive and you want to play, you've got to buy all that stuff.
Well, that's the exact reason why I didn't get into Game of Thrones. I bought 1 core set because I felt as a noob that had no idea about the game, 1 core set would be enough even. And I bought 2 booster packs, I think, from the whatever ones they were at the time. And I thought, this would be a good intro to the game. And then I went online after smashing my mates and was like, oh yeah, so I've got to buy 2 more of these core sets to have a good selection of the core cards that goes in every deck. And then I've got to buy a couple more of the things that I've just bought as well. Like, no. Like,
the LCGs are fantastic. You get in at the ground level because you get a play set. So obviously you've got to do that initial outlay of buying 3 core sets. But if you think about it, if you're going to buy a booster box, you're spending about 90 quid anyway. And the core set's about 30 quid. So you spend 90 quid, the same as buying a booster box. But instead of maybe getting most of the stuff, you get everything, a play set. And then every couple of months, they bring out a chapter pack. And that's great. I love that model. That's why I got into Thrones, because I was like, it's a really cool game. I want to try the LCG model. I'll get it up on the ground floor. Great. But there wasn't the play base around here, so that's why I got out of it, and that's why we've been talking about amongst ourselves, but playing a bit about L5R, some new LCG.
I could really
we can go in together and we can play it. But for a new player, it's daunting. It's almost impossible. It's like same like for people who want to go and play Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I don't think there has been any new blood in most game stores for Yu-Gi-Oh. because Yu-Gi-Oh is again.
What word are you saying?
Why are you saying Hugh?
Well,
It's
is
like
it
the
Yu-Gi-Oh?
Quip.
It's you,
It's
yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
All right, Yu-Gi-Oh.
I thought you were doing
Do
it
you know what?
sarcastically.
It's a
Yu-Gi-Oh,
shit
like
card
Corwin.
game. It's got a shit card game with a shit TV show anyway. So I don't really care about
Wow.
it. But that card game made by Konami, which is one of the worst companies ever. Big up my man Hideo Kojima. It's like that game. You don't see any new blood in those games because there'll be
people think they're
cards.
called Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah,
Get
and that,
put off.
and because cards are so old that they're so rare to get. They're rare as rockin' horse shit. So people are no way to get them to play them. And there's a ban list that's like outrageous as well. So it's really hard to buy into that sort of game. So if we'd never had a rotation with Destiny, how hard is it? Probably can you remember how hard it was to get Awakenings packs like about 8 months ago?
Yeah.
Like imagine how hard it's going to be to get Awakening. Like, I really want to play. There's this new stuff that now makes Awakenings Luke fantastic. I really want to get 2 copies of Awakenings Luke. Good luck, mate. You're looking at £100 a card and dice because they haven't printed it in 3 years.
Yeah.
So so rotation allows a new player come in, or someone was like, oh yeah, I want to get into this game. I'll wait for the rotation, then I'll get in. That's when you get so much new blood come into a game when a rotation happens. You get some people leave because they can't afford to keep going, but you get a lot of new people join because it's like, cool, this is my entry point. I'm going to come in now.
Yeah. And, with where we're coming up with legacies and stuff and just what, the 2-player box set and the draft set, it is such a good time to jump in. And we're only a month away from the release of at least the new base set. So it is going to be a great entry point, and especially kind of bouncing off the hype of the new film as well.
Yeah, so again, I keep bringing it up, but like Pokemon games, really a Pokemon card game as well. That goes in stits and starts. When there's a new film or a new video game, a massive injection of players come in. There's just been a new film. We've got the new version of the games coming out. That's going to grow. New Star Wars films every year for the next God knows how many years. We're going to have Star Wars
trilogy
films.
Got announced the other day, didn't it?
Yeah, maybe you might see that as a bad thing. You might be a purist. You may see that as a good thing. It just means there's more people
Star
want
Wars
to
is
get
great.
into it. Yeah.
Let people have fun.
Cool. Well, so that's enough getting angry. Let's talk about, before we go, because we've been running on for quite a while. We're an hour in. Let's talk about Galactic Qualifiers briefly. So Galactic Qualifiers, from what I know about it, I've not actually read the article. I'm assuming it is going to be a series of tournaments where you accumulate points, and those points allow you to get prizes. And there's no events yet in England, so pull your finger out, FFG. I want to be able to come and play and come second.
So I have read the article, so I will.
Cool. So you take it away.
I love this game. I'm a big nerd, and I like to read about it. So Galactic Qualifiers are tournaments that are going to be held at conventions and conventions only. So stuff like Comic-Cons and all this kind of stuff. The points that you earn throughout that tournament over the weekend cannot be transferred to another tournament. So you have to cash out your points at the end of the weekend or earlier if you want something that you actually, if you're after something and they might run out of it. They kind of did a breakdown in one of the articles somewhere, I think it's on their events page, where they kind of like lay out the distribution of points. And in order to get a spot gloss character card, I believe that's 24 points. Which would mean you'd have to win kind of like an event, like 'cause there's going to be a trilogy tournament at this plus side event pods and plus other big tournaments that, again, going back to your limited or your standard formats. So you need to win one of these kind of big events and then win a pod or two. I think you get 16 points for winning an event, and then it's plus 2 pods, and then that gives you enough points to get a spot gloss character. Or you can just win 3 pods or 4 pods, however many it is, and to get that spot gloss character. But you have to, as I say, these points aren't transferable to another convention. You have to, win big and grab your prizes and leave before that weekend's over. But just some of the promos that are actually, like, you can actually see on this page is. It's just, some of them are stunning. Like even the playmats are about 32 points, I think you need to take a playmat home, which would be basically winning 2 big events, which could be tricky. But you get points for like every round that you play in as well. So if you're, if you play to the end of the tournament, you're guaranteed more points than not. And it's interesting to see this like different level of tournament, right? So this is completely separate to your store champs, your regionals, your nationals, your worlds. These are only going to be run at conventions all over the world. And if you win a Galactic Qualifier tournament, then you do also get a seat at World Championships. What they've not specified if it's the same kind of level of cover you get from winning a regional or a continental. So if you get your flights and hotel, or whether or not you simply just get your tickets. But what this really does kind of showcase is over the next kind of 6 months as we're building up to Worlds next year, is that we might not see like general admission tickets go on sale at all for Worlds this year. And that the only way to get into them might be through these qualifiers. It's probably a bit too early to kind of say that, because we'll probably then only have about 100 people at Worlds, which seems a bit slim pickings. We'd like to see 400, 500, 600 players at Worlds, but it'd be interesting to see kind of how they use this to feed into the rest of the tournament format. But I'm just after spot class characters and battlefields, really.
I didn't realise the points don't go over to other events. I'd have quite liked you there to stock up.
Yeah, and it allows you over 3 events, right? To actually finally I can get this playmat rather than having to go big and win all these pods, because I'm sure pods will still have an entry fee, so you could spend 40 quid entering pods to be able to then get enough points to get this playmat. So
seems quite competitive, doesn't it, at that point?
Yeah, so you've got to make sure that you go into these pods with the right frame of mind, that you're gonna crush face and win. But it does also mean that if you do over a weekend pick up a Thrawn playmat or a Hera playmat, that secondhand on Facebook or on your trading sites or on eBay, these things could actually sell for a pretty significant amount of money.
Yeah, they're going to be very sought after, aren't they? Because if you've got to be the winner. The Hera playmat is quite nice, but I definitely would like to get some of those spot class characters and some of the cards.
I really like the Thrawn mat, to be honest. I just love the Thrawn art. It's a shame that he's not got any good pairings. And
that guy who does that art, he does some sick art.
Yeah.
He does some.
Yeah.
Although, kind of bouncing off the subject of Galactic Qualifiers, because I think that's basically it in a nutshell, right? They've got a website, it's galacticqualifiers.com. Where they've got kind of the next 6 months worth of events up, but it's only really stuff in the USA. There's a couple of events in Europe, in Spain and Italy, but 99% of the listings are all in the States. And no, I think we're only going to get that see that get full. It means all the London Comic Cons, the Birmingham Comic Cons and stuff, we could start seeing these qualifiers. So we could start giving up on Q kits, guys, and just traveling the country to all these Galactic Qualifiers, winning big.
That'd be great. I'd love that. Yeah.
But
so do we know when the next UK one is at all?
No, it doesn't say yet. I imagine there's MCM in March, I think. It's the first London Comic Con of the year, so we've still got a couple of months to wait, I think. But we'll just have to wait and see what FFG kind of give us. But kind of going off from the alt art angle, we had ours recently finished, didn't we?
Oh yeah, Ian, he's drawn us a Sabine, and oh god, it's amazing. I think he's excelled himself. He smashed it out of the park.
No, yeah, I think it's really, really nice. I don't think we've actually put a post up for it yet, have we? So I might do that along with this podcast.
I was going to. I don't know why I didn't, but
yeah,
I've sent them to the printers, so we just they should hopefully be with us in a couple of weeks. And so yeah, if you for you patrons guys who've been paying us £5 a month, you'll $5 a month, we'll send one out to you. But your continual support. Anyone wants to join us in at the £5 mark, you won't get a dice this time with it.
No, you won't get a die.
No.
No, yeah, we kind of rejigged I kind of rejigged the Patreon, so now we have kind of a $5 promo card tier, where what we're saying, we're probably gonna every 3 months, 4 months or so say, get another card commissioned, and it's just a way of just saying thank you to the people who kind of just have been supporting the show. And because we've been saying for months, this show costs us money, And, we love doing it and we'll always do it for as long as we're all playing Destiny. But, the generosity from some of our fans is, outstanding. And it's just a big thank you to all you guys, really. But it's just our way of just giving something back extra to those people.
Yeah, definitely. So, we'll have a post out. So thank you very much to people continuing to support us on Patreon. Like Danny says, it's incredible that you'll be willing to actually spend any of your hard-earned cash to listen to us.
Yeah.
Well, listen to me get angry.
Yeah, and me just gloat about how great I am, because I am pretty great. I'm modest. Yeah. Modest is my second best.
So modest. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a long one, isn't it, boys?
It has.
That's what she said.
And you can kind of tell. Yes.
Hey.
There it is.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess we'll leave it at that, shall we? So thanks very much for listening. Thanks for the continual support. Check us out. Like us on Facebook. Do stuff.
YouTube. I've been doing slightly more YouTube content. I plan to be better at it and trying to at least put out kind of 3 videos a week, I think, to start with. I'd like to get to a point where I'm just slamming out content every day, but I'm pretty lazy and I play too many other games, so it's hard. But check us out on the YouTube as well, and we'll catch you next time. That's all I've got to say.
Most importantly, be good to each other. Peace. Live long and prosper.
Yeah, don't hate each other as much as Vader hates sand.
Hey,
got it in there.